On November 6, 2020, hip-hop fans worldwide were woken up to shocking news. One of the industry's fastest rising rappers had been shot and killed. Everyone was curious and eager to know the details surrounding Von's death, such as who shot him and what the circumstances surrounding his death were. These questions can be answered by understanding Von's final 24 hours alive. Who did he talk to? Was he caught lacking by his ops? Was he set up? These are the horrifying final hours of King Von interview with DJ Akademiks. Popular hip-hop commentator DJ Akademiks has come under fire in the past for his bizarre fixation with artists' off-the-mic violence and nihilism, promoting negativity and poking fun at Chicago gang activity and glorifying the gang violence associated with Chicago drill music. Despite his troubled career, DJ Akademiks has over the years managed to remain in the good graces of Chicago rappers such as King Von and Lil Durk. Among his most watched videos was King Von's last ever interview. The 40-minute video has been watched over 2 million times and revealed to fans what his life was like at the time. The interview also gave hip-hop fans clues about who might have had a hand in the rapper's death. Right off the bat, it is important to note that the interview was not planned. At the beginning of the video, DJ Akademiks revealed that Von was a surprise guest. The interview seemed unplanned as Von was live streaming from his phone as he was driving. In the interview, Von hinted at the deadly lifestyle that was his reality. Asked about his nickname, the Demon, which seemed to stem from his gangster lifestyle, King Von was not shy about it. Interestingly, after his death, numerous reports regarding the number of people he had killed surfaced. Not only did this show that he was a hardcore gangster, but also that he must have had numerous ops. Although many believed that it earned him street cred, it may have put a huge target on his back since many people were out to get him. In fact, as we will see later in the video, Von was forced to walk around with guys from O-Block, armed security, and moved in a bulletproof vehicle. Although Von acknowledged that people feared him, he also told Akademiks that they loved him in equal measure. This is one of the reasons he was always seen around the area despite the Parkway Gardens Homes area being famous as a hotbed of gang violence. The area adopted its popular name after the murder of O.D. Perry. He was a member of the Black Disciples and the area got its name to honor him. Reports from the area suggested that O.D. Perry's murder was in retaliation to the murder of 15-year-old Shondell Gregory, alias Tuka, who was shot and killed while waiting at a Chicago bus stop the same year. After the death of the two gang members, the area descended to chaos, sparking off a series of shootings that have since left many dead and continues to wreak havoc in the community to this day. The sad part about gang violence is that each side always wants to have the last laugh, leading to an unending cycle of violence. Many believe that Von's growing status to stardom should have kept him out of the area to avoid getting caught in the crossfire between the GDs and BDs. However, Von was adamant that O-Block was his home, and he was not afraid to hang around there any chance he got. He revealed that he helped the residents with bills and treated the kids to candy anytime he was in the area. However, he also revealed that he was cautious, since he understood that fame and money would always attract jealousy and hatred, even from one's own people. Despite this, no one ever stepped up to him because of his street cred. In fact, anytime he was around O-Block, everyone was on their best behavior. Surprisingly, Von hinted at him not getting killed in O-Block due to gang violence. According to the Chicago rapper, there was a false perception of the area. He told Akademiks that people should not be afraid of the area and that the only reason it got a bad rep was due to people who were not from O-Block coming to start trouble. He also noted that at the time, things were starting to improve in the area. Interestingly, Von was still afraid of getting caught lacking, and his paranoia showed throughout the interview. DJ Akademiks noted that Von constantly kept looking around, despite the fact that he had people in the car with him who could be on the lookout for him. What is more interesting is that he was in New York and not Chicago, which meant that his ops were miles away from him. According to the rapper, he had been forced to adopt the habit of constantly scanning his surroundings in case an op was trying to make a move on him. Better safe than sorry, the rapper told Akademiks. Despite him being a superstar, gang violence was still a thing, and he was not about to let ease up on protecting himself. Von's manager revealed that Von had been doing music for less than 2 years. Therefore, his life was still pretty much the same. Money and fame could not easily change their street behavior and mentality. Most of Von's actions were modeled by his surroundings, and a 2-year period was not enough to change him from a hardcore gangster to a normal hip-hop artist. He also revealed that he was thinking of quitting the music business because he did not like the fact that he brought artists up from the hood only for them to be killed or end up in jail because of their past lives. However, everything that Von was revealing showed that he was confident that he would not die from gang violence in Chicago, as many before him had. Von even revealed that they lived close to their ops on 63rd Street, yet he was not afraid. Apart from that, he discussed how he and one of his ops, FBG Duck, were advocating for peace in their home area. The two had become vocal against gang violence in the area. According to him, too many people were either dead or in jail because of the gang wars in Chicago. At the time, Duck was his biggest enemy, and their feud had led to the rapper's death. While many believed that Von was responsible, he denied having been involved. In fact, when Von died and before any information about the incidents was made public, some people believed that FBG Duck's guys had rolled up on Von to seek revenge for their fallen man. While addressing his beef with Duck during the interview, Von revealed that he and Duck had squashed their beef. The rapper had taken to Twitter a few months back to reveal this. Me and Duck settled our differences right before he passed. We was talking about bringing everybody together as a whole and changing the community for the better. I'ma still stand on that. Every step of the way, I'ma be thinking of you, even though you dissed my dead homies and family. Wrote Von. He claimed that someone had deleted their DMs so he could not prove that they were on good terms before his tragic passing. There had been speculation that Duck's people would pull up on Von to avenge their gang member. However, according to Von, the two rappers had decided that enough was enough and had settled their disagreements. In fact, when FBG Duck was killed, Von was so hurt that he did not sleep that night. According to the Chicago rapper, he could not believe that it had happened to Duck. Von's demeanor and behavior as he answered this may have caused people to doubt whether he was telling the truth. He paused, pointed his camera away from him, and when he came back on camera, he dismissed the topic and asked Akademiks to change the subject. However, this was not the first op that Von had made up with and ended up getting killed. Young Akira Barnes, who was lauded as the deadliest female assassin, had allegedly warmed up to Von, who was her enemy, before she was shot dead. In fact, it was alleged that the two were dating at the time of her passing. Industry rumor had it that Von would get close to an op, earn their trust, and then have them killed. In the interview, Von addressed his rumored beef with fellow rapper NBA YoungBoy. At the time, NBA YoungBoy was among the hottest rappers in the game, so the fans were excited to see how their beef would turn out. It was rumored that Von had started the beef after publicly dissing YoungBoy. The most famous incident was during an Instagram live when Von claimed that YoungBoy was lying in his lyrics when he famously said, "You got cap in your raps."
YoungBoy talking about on this song, bro.
What?
He talking crazy on this one.
Oh, yeah?
He ain't even like that.
Oh!
On this nah. On this cap. You got cap in your raps.
Apart from telling the world that YoungBoy was lying in his lyrics, King Von was rumored to have a fling with YoungBoy's baby mama. As if that was not enough, the Chicago rapper often took to the internet where he would constantly mock YoungBoy, especially by imitating his social media rant. With all this out in public, fans were surprised that YoungBoy did not address his new op. Many believed that Von was looking for clout using YoungBoy's name since he was a superstar. Beefing with YoungBoy would easily have helped him come up even faster than he already was. Under normal circumstances, all these would easily spark a beef in the hip-hop world. But to everyone's surprise, NBA YoungBoy remained silent. It seems he did not want to give attention to a rapper who was not yet at his level. YoungBoy would not directly mention King Von until after his death, as the Chicago rapper became even more famous after he passed away. On January 14th, 2022, NBA YoungBoy broke the internet after releasing his song Bring the Hook Back. In the song, he dissed the late King Von and his entire gang, O-Block. In the song's lyrics, NBA YoungBoy outrightly makes fun of King Von's death. This sparked beef with other artists such as Von's lifelong friend Lil Durk, who came out to defend his dead friend. According to Lil Durk, YoungBoy should keep his mouth shut about Von since he did not carry out the hit on his friend. "Don't claim it if you ain't do it, you still a B," Durk posted. Kayla B, Von's sister, followed suit and posted, "On demon time in the house on house arrest, get in these streets." She followed this post with, "Don't claim it if you ain't do it, you still a B." First, Von clarified that he was not beefing with any rapper, especially not YoungBoy. According to him, real beef involved someone getting shot. He also accused hip-hop fans of trying to start the beef between the two rappers. Final hours. As we saw earlier, Von's gangsta status plus all the bodies that he allegedly caught earned him street cred. He was feared to the point that fans from O-Block did not run at him whenever they saw him. Additionally, he was forced to walk around with guys from O-Block armed security, and he moved around in a bulletproof vehicle. So then, who would be brave enough to step up to Von? Where were his O-Block guys? And most importantly, where was his armed security? DJ Akademiks interviewed King Von's manager, Jameson Francois, alias 100K Track, and shed light on the rapper's last hours alive. Track, who was also shot during the altercation that led to Von's death, revealed a lot of information regarding that fateful day. Some of the things that happened that night were so weird that even he did not understand them. Track revealed that the events that happened were spontaneous, as opposed to strictly following procedure as they were used to. Apart from that, he seemed not to be in the right headspace, as we we will see later. From Von's weird behavior to his bad decision-making, Von's story is layered with a lot of speculation and misinformation. According to Track, he had been forced to clear the air about the day's events because people had been spreading lies about his deceased client, assassinating his character, painting him in a bad light, and destroying Von's legacy. He was also forced to come out and address the situation because the media and people online were putting the blame on his crew for not protecting the rapper from being killed. That day, Von and his entourage flew from New York to Atlanta, where he was set to have an album release party. King Von had just released his first album, Welcome to O-Block. 100K Track revealed that Von was traveling with his usual entourage, which consisted of 3 armed security guards and close to 15 of his hood guys. According to Track, the O-Block guys that Von kept around him at all times loved the rapper and were ready to protect him better than any security guard would. They would die for Von, since Von had helped them ever since he got rich and famous. They had such a tight relationship that Track entrusted his client's life with the O-Block guys more than he did with security. With an entourage of about 25 cars, the group headed to Opium nightclub in Atlanta for the album release party. However, after the release party, things started to go south. Von and his manager operated on schedules that had been well planned beforehand. They always followed a routine. That night, Von did not follow protocol. Track knew that after leaving the club, they would all be heading back to their rented Airbnb to call it a night. However, Von took a detour and headed for Hookah Lounge. Why Hookah Lounge? Nobody knows. Again, it is important to note that rap artists are paid to make club appearances. However, Von's manager revealed that Hookah Lounge had not paid Von to show up at their club. Track also clarified that Von was well within his rights to go to the club, despite it being an impromptu decision. Another weird thing is that normally Track would be driving Von. However, the rapper got into his bulletproof vehicle and instructed his driver to head to Hookah Lounge without security. He was with about 4 other people in the car. The rest of the entourage got a call later from those who had gone with Von, notifying them of their location. In fact, Track revealed that it was Von's DJ who called him while concerned that they were alone. It seemed that he was also confused by Von's decision. What was the point of going to Opium nightclub with an entourage of about 25 vehicles only for you to go to another club without them? And to make matters worse, you failed to notify your manager or security regarding your whereabouts. It just did not make sense. It was unlike Von to make such security blunders. According to Track, anytime they went to an after party, they went as a group. However, that night, Von completely ignored his normal gangster instincts and went on his own. Having grown up in one of the roughest neighborhoods in Chicago, he was expected to be on top of his game when it came to security. In fact, Track praised Von for being the best artist he had worked with in terms of being security conscious. Von knew how to move to avoid getting caught lacking by his ops. Even with 3 armed security guards and 15 loyal O-Block guys, Von was not known to slip up when it came to security. When the rest of the guys got to Von's location, the story got even more weird. Seeing that Von had a head start, everyone thought that he was already in the club. To their surprise, Von had been in the car for almost 30 minutes. So why had he gone without them? And without telling anyone, only for him to chill at the parking lot? Why had he not entered the club? These are questions that may never be answered. At this point, his entourage had been outside their vehicles for more than half an hour and were starting to get cold, so some of them started getting back into their vehicles. Track approached Von and told him that people were confused and it was time to enter the club. Surprisingly, Von agreed immediately. Track then ordered his security to conduct routine security checks to ensure that it was safe for them to get inside. They had a look inside the club as well as the back and assured Track that everything was fine. Although many people on social media tried to blame the armed security for not protecting Von, Track revealed that they did everything that they were supposed to do. He even told Akademiks that the armed security guards were forced to leave their firearms in their vehicles since no one was allowed to enter the club with a gun. At this point, Track and Von were still conversing and waiting to get the final clearance from the security guards. Suddenly, one of Von's homeboys came up to the driver's side and notified Von that he had just seen Quando Rondo sleeping in his car. In a split second, Von was out of the car and heading toward Quando's direction. Now Von's manager is still baffled at Von's decision-making that night, especially at this particular point. Quando Rondo was signed to NBA YoungBoy's label. It is essential to point out how old-school hip-hop beef started, through affiliation. Since Quando Rondo was directly affiliated to YoungBoy, he was already considered an op. This brings to question what Von had told DJ Akademiks barely 24 hours earlier. He had said that he did not have any beef with YoungBoy. Then why did he decide to attack a rapper he had been seen with only once in public? Had he lied to Akademiks about his feud with YoungBoy? Later in the interview, Von's manager revealed that both camps, YoungBoy and Von's labels, had exchanged words in the past. Von had told his people that if he ever came across any of YoungBoy's people, he would treat them like a little boy. Von had set his mind on assaulting anyone affiliated to YoungBoy. However, he did make it clear that he would not involve guns, just fists. What is surprising is that Quando and Von appeared to be cool with each other, as a video posted by Von a year earlier surfaced of them clowning 63rd Street. According to Track, Von was known to be a calm guy. However, his reaction upon hearing Quando was in the the area was very peculiar. Vaughn, being very conscious about security, confronted Quando without knowing whether he had a weapon on him or whether there was anyone on guard for the rapper. Yet another blunder in the long list of mistakes Vaughn committed that put his life at risk. Before Track could understand why Vaughn was excited about the news and what he wanted to do, Vaughn was already approaching Quando Rondo. At this point, Quando had exited his car and was on his way to the club. Vaughn, with a few members of his crew behind him, proceeded to attack Quando, knocking him to the ground. Vaughn's guys joined in and started raining blows on Quando as he tried in vain to get away from his attackers. In a split second, one of Quando's homeboys, who was later identified as Lil Tim, appeared from behind their vehicle with a gun in hand and started letting off shots. Vaughn was hit on his torso. After watching the CCTV footage of the altercation, many fans criticized Vaughn's homeboys for running away from the situation. However, what Track revealed next would cause even more confusion and start conspiracy theories that are still held to date. From the security camera footage, it seemed that everyone ran away when Quando started shooting. However, Vaughn's manager told Akademiks in the interview that everyone dispersed because shots were being let off from somewhere else and the shooters could not be seen in the dead of night. It turns out that there were two off-duty police officers near the area when Lil Tim started shooting. When the first shots were heard, the cops started shooting uncontrollably. Why would police officers start shooting without knowing what was going on? Were they not worried that they would kill innocent bystanders? We shall explore this further later in the video, since it led people to believe that there was an elaborate scheme to assassinate King Von. Vaughn was put in a vehicle by his guys and rushed to the hospital. On the way to the hospital, those in the car with him panicked while Vaughn stayed calm. According to his manager, Vaughn tried to calm everyone who was in the car with him. In fact, from the way Vaughn carried himself during the ride to the hospital, everyone thought that he was not fatally wounded and that he would survive the ordeal. This is a direct contradiction to what Vaughn's ex-girlfriend revealed were his last words. According to Asian Doll, Vaughn's last words to his crew were, "Y'all let them get up on me. Stop crying, y'all, let them get me." It turns out that not only was Asian Doll not present during the whole ordeal, she had supposedly communicated with Vaughn through a spiritual advisor. Although he was alive when he arrived at the hospital, Track revealed that he died during surgery. Those were King Von's last 24 hours alive. The whole incident being weird to fans and even to Von's closest people, anyone would be right to think that they were missing something. Some of the events leading up to his death were just too convenient. It did not seem like a random set of events. It did not take long for people to start speculating. Conspiracy theories of Vaughn being set up started to surface. King Von setup.
It hurt us. It hurt us a lot. I cried. Some of my friends cried. He had a big influence on us. A really big influence.
King Von's death caused a lot of heartache to his fans, friends, and family. It was no surprise that people started investigating his death and coming up with all kinds of theories. However, it is first important to give Quando's side of the story. On that fateful night, Quando Rondo was outside the hookah lounge in his car. His entourage was in the club and he decided to take a nap. His friend, Timothy Leaks, alias Lil Tim, refused to leave his side and decided to keep him company. Not long after, the parking lot was filled with people that Quando did not know. At this point, he decided to get back into the club. While he was walking to the club alone, he was confronted by a large group. They started beating him up as he tried in vain to break free. Quando's right-hand man, who was inside the vehicle all this time, saw that his brother was heavily outnumbered. He quickly jumped out of the vehicle with his gun in hand and fired shots at Quando's attacker. Vaughn and his manager were hit. As everyone scattered in all directions, Lil Tim was also hit. According to Vaughn's manager, Lil Tim sustained a gunshot wound to his leg after the off-duty cops started shooting. All this time, Vaughn was still holding on to Quando. What is interesting is that Quando later revealed that he did not know it was Vaughn who had attacked him or even got shot.
And you at this point didn't know who it was either?
Ma'am, I didn't know this was him. Ma'am, I swear to God, on my soul, ma'am, like, ma'am, this is on neighborhood crip, ma'am. I did not know that was him till the next day.
In fact, Quando said in the interview that when he was hit, he had an out-of-body experience. For a moment, he did not know what was going on.
It's like I had an out-of-body experience.
What Quando does remember is Vaughn holding on to him, then remembers seeing gunshot wounds on Vaughn and started screaming that the man holding on to him had been shot. This was even confirmed by Vaughn's manager, who was closest to the chaos, but was unable to help Vaughn as he was also shot in the leg. After Vaughn's guys came back and separated the two, Quando got Lil Tim in his car and together with their driver, drove to the hospital. Although Vaughn was loved, there was consensus among rap fans that Quando's friend did the right thing. Even DJ Akademiks admitted that Lil Tim has a chance at winning the case by claiming that he acted in self-defense. On the other hand, Lil Tim is yet to narrate his version of the day's events. However, it seems that he may not address it anytime soon. In an interview with Fuchsia's TV, Lil Tim would reveal his thoughts regarding the whole case.
How do you feel about that, though? Like, do you feel any type of way, or you just waiting until the situation really play out.
Fans eagerly waited for him to narrate his version of events. However, he did not reveal much about the case since it was an active matter in court. But he did reveal that his plan was to wait for the case to blow over.
Shit, I'm just waiting to play out.
Lil Tim also hinted at using the self-defense argument in the case. According to him, people pick and choose when to get angry over certain situations. He also added that anyone in the world would want their friends to be with them in case they are in danger. Lil Tim cleared the air on the number of times he had been shot that night. While there were reports that he had been shot 4 times, the truth is that he had sustained 2 gunshot wounds that night. Unlike his close friend Quando, Lil Tim handled the incident pretty well. He even revealed that he drove himself to the hospital despite sustaining 2 gunshot wounds. Not everyone was impressed with Lil Tim's interview. In particular, one of his most dangerous ops, Lil Durk. Lil Durk was considered his most dangerous ops since he and Von were best friends. It would not surprise anyone if Durk sought revenge against Lil Tim. We don't want to hear that scary soft "It's stuck goofy," Durk posted on his Twitter. While many people still maintain that Von's death was caused by nothing else but dumb decision-making by Von, a large section of fans believed that he had been set up. There were too many coincidences for it to have been a random accident. Shockingly, many people believe that his best friend, Lil Durk, was behind the whole thing. As absurd as that sounds, people have brought forth evidence to back up this claim. So how did this conspiracy theory start?
I just talked to an overnight commander who says the only information they can confirm for us is that a man has been shot and he's been rushed to the hospital.
On February 5th, 2019, at around 5:45 a.m., shots rang out in the parking lot of The Varsity, a popular restaurant located in Midtown Atlanta. There was one casualty. A 23-year-old man, Alexander Weatherspoon, had sustained a fatal gunshot wound. On May 4th, 2019, first suspect in connection with Weatherspoon's fatal shooting was arrested, King Von Yacht. It did not take long for the next suspect in the case to find themselves in police custody. Only 9 days after Von was arrested, Bezu found himself in handcuffs. Finally, the Atlanta police issued an arrest warrant on May 29, 2019 for the final suspect in the shooting incident, Lil Durk. This is where the story gets interesting. Of the 3, Durk seemed to have the most to lose. He was already a big and influential rapper, so he had cause to worry. In particular, he should have been worried about the attempted murder charge. Durk risked being behind bars for 10 to 20 years for this, and since he was already an established rapper, his career would be derailed. Apart from that, Durk was the biggest and most influential rapper among the 3 who were arrested. Therefore, taking him down would prove a significant blow to crime related to hip-hop, especially in the state of Georgia, and a win for law enforcement. Also, prosecutors wanted the case treated as gang-related, and had a Chicago police captain confirmed that Von and Durk were members of the BDs. It is widely believed that Weatherspoon was a member of the Vice Lords, a fierce rival to the BDs. This would pile up more charges on Durk. When Durk and Von finally appeared before a judge, 2 interesting pieces of evidence against Durk were brought to light. First, Jeffrey Churchill, detective from the Atlanta PD, took to the stand and told the court that he had spoken with a witness who was present during the shooting. According to the witness, a fight broke out in a car that was in front of them. The witness then said that she saw Durk pull out a firearm. She ran to hide and heard shots fired. When she turned, she saw the victim in a pool of blood. However, she did not see who fired the shots. The detective also revealed that they had obtained surveillance footage showing Durk's hand sticking out of the SUV and firing his weapon at Weatherspoon.
You see Mr. Banks' arm out the window firing several shots at the victim.
A judge would later find probable cause in the charges brought up against the rappers, meaning that the case would move to trial. However, in late October 2022, all charges against Durk were dropped. Multiple sources, including Durk's lawyers, reported that the case was dropped due to insufficient evidence. Durk's lawyers maintained that Durk was present at the crime scene, but he was never involved in the shooting. Bezu's charges were also later dropped. However, the rumors had already started circulating. Lil Durk had told on his dead friend to have his charges dropped. More evidence was released confirming people's fears. In a statement released by the Georgia DA, if co-defendant Davon Bennett, aka King Von, had not died in 2020, he would have been indicted for this incident. However, before Von died, a lot happened that pointed to Durk wanting to blame Von for the murder. It was widely believed that Durk was viewed as a rising star who would eventually dominate the airwaves. He needed to be protected at all costs and bring in the money for the music executive. So Von was the one to take the fall for the crime since he had not yet blown up like Durk. The plan seemed to be to get Von in serious trouble and then portray him as the dangerous one between the two. That way Durk would walk and Von would end up in prison. First of all, it seemed very odd that Durk had hired good lawyers for himself while Von was being represented by public defenders. It was also very peculiar that Durk was the first of the 3 to be released on bail. Another incident involved one of Lil Durk's lawyers, Nicole Mormon. Rumor has it that she posed as airport security to have Von searched at an airport, an incident that Von captured and posted on social media. Netizens soon found out that Nicole had worked with the state for nearly 5 years as a felony probation officer and special specialized task force agent, meaning she could go undercover. The most distressing bit about the Vaughn incident is that when he died, he may have received a phone call telling him that an op was around Hookah Lounge. How else would he have found himself in the parking lot with Quando Rondo? But if at all that was a coincidence, how would anyone explain the fact that there were 2 off-duty cops in the area at that time of the night? What is even more chilling is that less than 5 seconds after Lil Tim fired shots, the cops started firing their weapon. According to Vaughn's manager, the cops did not give any instructions. They did not yell at anyone to drop their weapons. They just started shooting uncontrollably. They did not mind that they might shoot innocent bystanders. Having been unable to get Vaughn in any kind of serious trouble or portray him as dangerous, people spread rumors that they had decided to kill him. Therefore, they set this all up to make it look like an accident. While many people would easily dismiss all this as crazy talk, there is no denying that the events that took place that night, plus Track's narration of the events, something still feels off. Although we might never really know what happened, Vaughn's memory will remain in people's hearts despite his troubled past. If you enjoyed this video, click on the boxes playing on your screen to watch similar content.